We are in for one heck of a ride over the next month as we wait to see how Bob Iger, CEO of the Walt Disney Company, is going to respond to Nelson Peltz and the 133-page of data-dense documents, which are truly damning to dismal Disney. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel. It is as always an honor that you are here with us. An attitude of gratitude for each and every one. Today we are talking about Bob Iger and his job, which he is not used to doing. No, it's not to watch movies 5, 6, 7, 8 times as the CEO of the company, but rather it is to respond, and respond in a way to the white paper released by the Trian Partners Group, headed up by Nelson Peltz, respond in a way that shores up shareholders and lets them know that yes, Two Shower Bobby indeed has their best interests at heart. No more blue sky documents. No more pie in the sky pontificating about all of the platitudes of Disney pixie dust. No, Bob Iger is going to have to lay down, for sure, agendas, milestones, achievements, statistics, projects, which are absolutely going to happen. So far, getting Bob Iger to speak in concrete terms has been a bit like trying to get the wizard to admit there's nothing behind the curtain. But that does not have to be. Today, folks, we want to bring on the panel and share with you what we have learned and what we believe will be Bob Iger's response over the next month as the Disney company attempts to stave off Jay Rasulo, former CFO, and Nelson Peltz from the Disney board.
Yep. Now, I will everything. I want to add the fact that Nelson Peltz has issued this entire. Everyone, this is one of my favorite things that my detractors come at me for. Oh, because it's about wokeness, right? No. When we analyze what is wrong with the Disney company right now, wokeness is like bullet point number 38 on this right now, because this company is broken on a fundamental level. Wokeness is in there, and maybe you could say it's an underlying problem here and there. But the closest that Nelson Peltz gets in this is something that we personally know as wokeness, is this inability of corporate culture at Disney to accept nonconformity, which is so ironic that Steve Jobs used to be on the board of this particular company. Mr. Think Different, Mr. Here's to the Crazy Ones, was the only thing, might have been the only thing keeping Bob Iger in check on that board. The fact that... Sorry, go ahead, Derek. You go.
I was going to say, you're right. I think it's not about the wokeness, even though that's what we look at when we're talking about it from a culture perspective. It just seems like the company is mismanaged, that the board hasn't really been engaged in trying to fix some of the problems. That's what I got out of Nelson Peltz's, dissertation there. Basically, he's saying, at this point, look, we need a change, at a fundamental level, all the way down to the roots of the company. And it has nothing to do necessarily with, the wokeness. So he doesn't really even bring it up very much. There's a lot of issues going on over there. And frankly, unfortunately, I think in this, town hall, and I'm interested to hear what Bob Iger has to say about it. But, we're a month away from the shareholders vote. I don't think he's going to say anything that's going to, give people a reason to vote for Nelson Peltz. And they probably have curated this entire town hall meeting very carefully to make sure that nothing negative comes out about Bob Iger, nothing comes up about this, this white paper. It's going to be more snake oil. What's the latest in snake oil that Bob Iger has for us today? That's what I think we're going to get out of this, unfortunately. I'm interested. I'm hoping that somebody drops a poison pill in this thing and blows this whole town hall up. That would be wonderful. But, we're a month away from the shareholders vote. This might be one of the biggest, opportunities Bob has to make his case that he's the guy, or his board members are the ones that we should rock with when it comes to this next vote. So I'm crossing my fingers that somebody says something, but I'm gonna be honest, I have very little, faith in that.
I would suggest that if nobody does, the average Jim and Jane out there watching this, if they are, we've all become, thanks to the internet, better consumers, more skeptical, more curious. If you're aware of this white paper and even a tiny little bit of what it says, and nothing at all is said about this.
Bob will say something like, "Oh, I haven't had an opportunity to go through everything. It's 133 pages." He'll run some.
I hear that, but all I'm saying is, if the people asking him the questions don't, your first impression is not going to be, "Oh, well, they must not think it's a big deal. I guess I shouldn't either." Your first impression is going to be, "Well, who are they on the take for that they didn't bring it up?" We're all, as a general rule, forget about Disney and woke and anything else. We're just a lot more cynical and a lot more skeptical nowadays than we used to be. And you live by that, you die by that. So if it doesn't get mentioned, it doesn't help him at all because it says, "Oh, you're just trying to quiet it up. Maybe I should go read it again because there must really be something in there you're afraid of."
No,
Culture, talk to us.
I agree with you.
Culture, talk to us for a minute about the chess game that has to be played, because I've been watching the chat, and a lot of people are interested in this particular issue, which is, does Bob Iger need to preempt the Nelson Peltz town hall? Does he need to answer questions? And think about it this way, Culture, as you answer. When you're playing overtime in a football game, oftentimes you don't want to be on offense first. You want to take defense first because you want to answer whatever happened, because it removes some uncertainty. Bob Iger is having to play offense first. Peltz gets to play offense second this week. What does Bob Iger do to preemptively defend himself from the criticism that will come in 2 days?
Well, he's going to have to do something. I would actually suggest that yesterday Nelson Peltz committed an onside kick, and he actually played a field position game here, or at least a squib kick at the very least.
Okay, that's a really interesting thing to say. What do you mean by that?
Well, they kicked the ball down the field to control the field position. They put Iger in the most disadvantageous position, because now there's a document out there that nobody's spoken to, and Iger has to address it, because he's got to have been through all 133 pages or whatnot and have digested it, and he has to know it front and back. I mean, Jonas knows it front and back. I know that for sure. But
not yet. I'm still studying.
But Iger needs to know this document, and he needs to also have been prepped for the potential that questions are going to be asked about it. I think the DA was mentioning that just a few moments ago, and I think that if he's not prepared to address every single item that's on that during the course of this conference before they even get to questions, if he's not just touching on these salient points along the way, even if he's not directly addressing the document that's been released, he will not only display the fact that he's on the defensive, he will be in a position where he's more likely to react emotionally and lash out when he is asked a question on it if he isn't prepared.
Right. I'll say that there are two levels there. There's one, it will be a clear sign that he has lost his touch completely if he reacts emotionally today. If short of that, the only thing that I think that shows that he is reacting from a place of weakness is if they actually make a product announcement of some kind today. That to me is a sure sign that they have completely lost touch with their audience and their shareholders.
Yeah, but Jonas, I would suggest he's already demonstrated that he's lost it completely. He has reacted emotionally in several cases. Even since coming back, he's had that I'm perturbed, you've irritated me kind of a visage appear on his face. You've seen it and you've heard it in his voice. So I expect that you could get more of that if he's not prepared for this. But this is a disadvantageous place for him. Peltz has pinned him back near his own end zone, and he's got to find a way to throw out of that trouble. And I don't think he's capable.
And he doesn't have the self-control. And the proof of that is when during the strike, he was interviewed, and instead of saying nothing, basically said, "Screw them, they're unrealistic," which absolutely guaranteed to make them say, "Oh, yeah, well, we're going to negotiate a little longer, Bob." It's like, why do you throw red meat to people who are out to get you that way unless you have no self-control? Because your ego is in charge, not your brain.
All right, folks, we are done for the day. We bid you adieu. But before we all go our separate ways, and before we all join back together once more to stay ahead of that culture curve, would you please consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and click it. Stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we always say, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.